it didn't say John Nemo, CEO, Nemo Media Group, which was just me and a wobbly folding card table. That was Nemo Media Group, right? Like,
Yeah.
I could be the fake hustler, fake, CEO.
Or look at it as humble beginnings, just say
Yes. Yeah, start somewhere. But my profile wasn't about me, my job title, my company name.
Hi, I'm Kyle Werkerly, certified professional ghostwriter. I'm glad you're listening as I welcome industry experts to share stories of lessons learned the hard way, overcoming professional hurdles, turning experience into actionable knowledge, and how to connect with your target audience. This is the Career Challenges Podcast. Want to learn the hard podcasting skills necessary to support your favorite shows? My friends at Podcast Production School have you covered. Their online course is designed to help you master the skills and strategies needed to launch, manage, and grow podcasts for business owners or professional podcasters. They'll help you learn everything from audio editing to show note creation and even marketing and promotion. Listeners of the Career Challenges Podcast can also get $100 off when they use the promo code Kyle100 at checkout. That's Kyle $100. KYLE $100. While you're there, download the free podcast production and launch checklist. This resource requires no purchase and gets you started on learning the steps to produce and launch a podcast. Download the free podcast production and launch checklist today. To do that, visit podcastproductionschool.com/workbook to grab yours. Welcome to the Career Challenges Podcast, and my guest for this episode is John Nemo, the best-selling author of LinkedIn Riches. So, John, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So you've obviously written a lot about LinkedIn. You know the platform very well. So how long, I guess you don't have to give me an exact number, but how long have you been on the platform?
Boy, good question. Probably since around 2006, 2005. So, not from day one, but for a long time. Like a lot of people, I started out using it for career purposes, looking for jobs, kind of an online resume. And then for me, it really shifted around 2012 when I quit my day job and went into business for myself, really pivoting to use it more to build a business and build a personal brand. But either way, however you want to use LinkedIn, it's been an incredible tool for me with my career, and I know it can be for anyone listening too.
Definitely. So why LinkedIn? I mean, obviously you know enough to write a book. I mean, you've got the experience enough to write a book. But why? What got you into LinkedIn in the first place? Was it just business, or were you thinking there's something here that is worth exploring?
Yeah. So really what it started as, like a lot of people, I was using it for career purposes. I was using it to find jobs and connect with decision makers, hiring managers. And then again, kind of the way my story worked, my backstory was I was a journalist. I worked for the Associated Press, and then I ended up doing public relations and working for trade associations. And around 2012, I really had this entrepreneurial itch. I really wanted to be out on my own, start my own marketing agency, do my own thing, and make this leap. And what I really understood, even just using LinkedIn back then to do different things and find different individuals, was you could really build a book of business here. Like I didn't have a grandiose plan for how to launch a new business. I basically had one client. I had enough money for 30 days, and I had my 3 young boys at home, and my wife was home taking care of them. And I quit. I left. I burned the ships behind me, and I said, I'm going to make this work. Either that, or I'm going to go back and get another day job. And so what I was able to do with LinkedIn back in 2012, the vision I had, the plan I had was I can really use this platform to find and engage with the exact decision makers that I need to sell my product or service to. And so even then in 2012, using LinkedIn in the version it was then, I was able to generate 6 figures. I was able to right away, within 90 days, replace my income from my day job, build a book of business, and I haven't really had to look back since, thankfully. And what I've discovered over the past decade is whether you want to use LinkedIn like I do to get clients, to make sales, to build your business, or if you just want to use it for your personal brand, for your career, for your next step, it's really an invaluable place to be. And one of the reasons is it's one of the best and most searched places on the internet. Literally, if you Google someone's name, what shows up at the top is their LinkedIn profile, page one. And whether you like it or not, if you've ever put a profile on there, it's visible. And people are looking at that. And when people are kicking the tires on you digitally, they're looking, especially in the professional space, they're looking at your LinkedIn profile. Who are you? What have you done? What do other people say about you? You know, what kind of content are you putting out? And it's just a place where it makes a lot of sense for you to spend time. And whether you want to win new business, whether you want to build a brand, there's a lot of opportunity here. And it's only getting bigger and better, which is why I'm such a fan of LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. So now obviously LinkedIn is very sophisticated, their algorithm, the features that are available and how you can utilize it. I feel it's more intuitive than when I started. And, I kind of dabbled in it, I think in 2009. I just got a profile on there and, of course, Facebook was still a big thing. And so I just saw it as kind of the business Facebook and, that was very, very stuffy, but it wasn't until, not as early as 2012. I want to say more like 2013, 2014. I really started looking and we're like, okay, they've really worked on it and they've made it better. Well, how can I use this? So I'm curious from your experience, what was it like then when you first got on it? And did you kind of see where it would be now?
Yeah, great question. It really, you've nailed LinkedIn, which is, they've always been very behind the times. They're the last to adapt a new feature. They're the last to put in a new technology. They were the last big network to do native video. They were the last big network to do, they still don't have like a stories feature, right? So whatever the hot features are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn will get it in about 3 years, right? So what was true in 2012 was it was very archaic and behind the times. But the reason it was so valuable and the reason it is even more valuable today is you cannot find a better place, especially if you're in the business-to-business marketplace, anyone who's doing business with other professionals, other companies, there is no better place on the planet to find the ideal decision makers, to bypass the gatekeepers. One of the things that I always struggled with, whether it was applying for a job, looking for a client, trying to sell to someone, was, prior to LinkedIn, I would have to go on a corporate website, fill out an information form, try to comb through the roster of employees, hope I could guess someone's email and get a message to them. Now with LinkedIn, you're going right to the exact decision maker. Because the way that LinkedIn works is, as of this moment, they've got almost 700 million members, 2 new members join every second, 200 countries around the world. They have all this data. And it's really one of the world's biggest search engines. And so what you do is you go onto LinkedIn as a user and you can reverse engineer all this data. So for example, if I wanted to jump in today and say, I want to get myself in front of every chief financial officer of a hospital where I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I want to create a list of those CFOs at hospitals in Minnesota and, filter it further by CFOs at hospitals in Minnesota who went to the University of Minnesota, so that when I message them, I can say, go Gophers, I can break the ice instantly. And that's the power of this platform, is you can personalize and kind of scale that interaction. So when you really understand LinkedIn, it's understanding I can find the exact people I need to talk to, but I can also sort them into groups with all the icebreakers in place so that I can scale my engagement. I can do one-on-one messaging, but I can create a sort of template that inserts these icebreakers. I know you're a CFO at a hospital in Minnesota. You went to the University of Minnesota. So now I have all these icebreakers to start the engagement. And that's where LinkedIn really shines. And where you're really successful with LinkedIn is not only finding and engaging the exact decision maker, person you want to talk to, but it's understanding how to use it in a way. And even what I found in 2012 was doing it in a way that was very personal, that was very engaging, that overlaid what you and I are doing, Kyle, which is real life one-on-one conversations.
Definitely,
Imagine that, right?
Yeah. Small world.
Yeah.
So, so you're using it more in an inbound sense. I mean, how can it work also as an outbound sense to attract, either a client or maybe the right employee that you're looking for your organization?
Yeah, great question. One of the core things that you want to do on the inbound side of LinkedIn that I talk about is having what I call a client, or let's even say customer or employee or employer facing profile. One of the big mistakes that almost everyone makes with LinkedIn is we've kind of been trained to think this way, but to put up what looks like an online resume.
Yeah.
It's written in the third person. It's all about me. It's all about my accolades and accomplishments. And one of the driving quotes behind my whole business, the way I do sales, the way I engage my employees, the way I engage customers, came from a great book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie wrote it in 1936. Yeah. And the one sentence that I've built my entire career and business around is what Carnegie says is, your ideal clients, your ideal customers, your ideal employees, they do not care about you. They care about themselves morning, noon, and after supper. And so what you do, how you reflect that on LinkedIn is you don't have a profile that's all about you. So let me give you an example to help kind of crystallize this. So when I made that jump in 2012 to start my own business, I had one client. He happened to be a debt collector. I had worked for a trade association doing public relations for debt collectors. That was the industry, I had worked in and kind of knew, and that's the client I picked up to start my new venture. So what I did with my LinkedIn profile at the time, it didn't say John Nemo, CEO, Nemo Media Group, which was just me in a wobbly folding card table. That was Nemo Media Group, right? I could be the fake hustler, fake, CEO.
Or look at it as humble beginnings, just say
yes. Yeah, start somewhere. But my profile wasn't about me, my job title, my company name. It didn't say John Nemo is an award-winning PR professional, blah, 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 blah. Here's what my profile said. Again, because I knew I wanted to attract inbound more debt collectors to work with, more clients. And so John Nemo, and then my LinkedIn headline said, debt collection marketing services. And the trick here and the template anyone can take right now who's listening is with your LinkedIn headline, don't have it be your job title, don't have it be your company name, have it be the industry or the audience you serve, and then the service that you provide. So in this case, I wanted to sell marketing services to debt collectors. So my LinkedIn headline said, debt collection marketing services, or providing marketing services for debt collection agencies. Either way, now when I'm connecting with someone on LinkedIn, because the riches are really in the niches with this platform, and because so much of your success on LinkedIn comes from you reaching out to someone, I intentionally would reach out to the owners of debt collection agencies. Well, when they saw my invite, the first thing they saw was my name and photo. The next thing was my LinkedIn headline, which said debt collection marketing services. So what was in it for them was, oh, this guy's all about my industry. Here's the service he provides. I wonder if I want some help. I should connect with him. And then to kind of continue this theme, when you have a client-facing or a employer-facing profile, if you're looking for a job, just make the ideal employer you want to work for the client in your mind. So basically, the first sentence of my profile was what I do. And this is a template I teach all my clients and students. What I do. This is the first sentence of your summary, your about section. What I do. I help this target audience that you insert get or achieve benefit they want by providing my product or service. I help this audience get this benefit by providing this product or service. Again, it's not, hi, I'm John Nemo, I'm CEO of Nemo Media Group. It was what I do. I help debt collection agencies increase revenue, get more clients, and make more money, benefits they wanted by providing industry-specific marketing services, website design, blah, 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 blah. So now you have to understand how that's so hyper-niched and all about them and helping them get what they want. When they see your invitation on LinkedIn and look at your profile, they immediately qualify themselves. They don't have to guess at whether or not you're worth connecting with. They don't have to wonder and ponder what you could do for them. They instantly know. And that's the real power of this with LinkedIn is there's 700 million members. You don't have to have every single member love you and validate you and want to be your friend or employer.
It would
Just
be nice.
the right
people. Not gonna argue with that. It would be nice.
Yeah.
So awesome. So when you started using LinkedIn in a more proactive manner, and you mentioned Dale Carnegie as kind of the chrysalis for your idea of how to use it. Were there other thought leaders or other resources that you were using, or was it trial by error?
At first, I'll be honest, and it was a lot of trial by error. I made a lot of mistakes. And so one of the biggest mistakes I made early on, and I just cringed. Thankfully, I'm not going to go back and look at my 2012 messaging, but I figured some things out. Other things I learned by making mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes I made that I see happening all the time still today on LinkedIn was I would connect with someone, but then I would immediately try to kind of close them on the first date. You try to marry someone on the first date.
I did that too.
Yeah, we all get this, right? Like we get a LinkedIn connection, they immediately are asking for something. I'd like to set up a free demo of my thing. I would like to I got a guy today that sent me an invite, Colin. He goes, "Hi, I'm looking to start a podcast. I see you do one. Can you call me and tell me everything I need to know about doing a podcast?" No. Wow. Like, why? Like, why would I give you all my hard-won insight for free? Like, what's in it for me, right? Like, True. It's just like he didn't warm me up. He didn't ask me questions. He didn't say, here's what would be in it for you. Like, that's the example of I made that mistake. I would connect with the debt collector and be like, hey, I'd really like to design your website, blah, 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 blah. And they'd be like, whoa, slow down. So what I learned was I had to practice professional courtship. Mm-hmm. I had to break the ice. I had to really personalize the engagement. I had to remember this core thing, Kyle, which is it's so easy when you're engaging in messaging and marketing online to forget that's a human being on the other end. Mm-hmm. There's a human being on the other end of that one-on-one message you sent that you need in real life. You would never talk to them that way. I would not walk into a coffee shop with you, Kyle, meet you for the first time, and within 30 seconds ask you if I could do a software demo or sell you something, right? Like, I just wouldn't do that. Like, where are you from, Kyle? Oh, you live in San Antonio. Yeah, what's that like? And where'd you go to school? Oh, cool. Yeah, do you have kids? Like, what's your story, man? Like, tell me more.
Especially,
so are you looking for help with this, or are you curious about learning how to do that? Because that's kind of what we do. And if you like, I've got some great free resources, but no pressure. Like, that's how you would do a sales interaction in real life. So once I started doing that on LinkedIn, I developed this script I call Messaging Magic, where I would break the ice and warm you up and banter a little bit, one-on-one messaging. And then I would pivot into this 4-part message script. And it works great for getting a job, getting a client, selling a product. And it's very simple. It's got 4 parts. Part 1 is you ask the person a question. So, hey, Kyle, hope this note finds you well. Curious, are you interested in blank? Are you looking for tips around blank? And blank is the topic you want to get them engaged about. So I would say, hey, Kyle, curious, hope things are well. Curious, are you looking for any tips on how to land more clients with LinkedIn? Like, you're asking about a topic. Curious, are you looking for ways to get to the next level in your career? Curious, are you looking for ways to get your book selling more on Amazon? Whatever the topic is. And then you say, the reason I ask is, and you offer some free value. I've got a great free blank, free training, free webinar, video, podcast, free website audit, whatever it is. And then part 3 is you ask permission. You don't just assume they want the link to your webinar or podcast. You say, if you like, I can send you a link to the free training. Just reply yes or give me a thumbs up emoji. And then part 4 is you take the pressure off and you say, and if it's not for you, if it's not something of interest, if it's not your cup of tea, no worries. Have a great day. And what this does is it's this kind of 4-part message. I really based it around Seth Godin, Permission Marketing, is a great book that he wrote, where you let people raise their hand and volunteer to be marketed to. Because what that messaging does is it helps you sort through people. If they're not interested in that topic, why would you want to waste your time trying to get them to engage about it? Whereas if they raise their hand and said, actually, I am curious, I do want to learn more about how to take the next step of my career. Yeah, why don't you send me that free tip? Now they're raising their hand to engage with you. and you're delivering them value. You're delivering content that demonstrates expertise, that helps them, and then they move further into your funnel. But the other part about that message template that I teach people is, since you're taking the pressure off and asking permission, they're not getting mad at you and saying you're a spammer and don't ever send me a message again. You can come back to them in a month with a different topic. Mm-hmm. So I'll come back a month later. Maybe they didn't show any interest in LinkedIn lead generation, but a month later, I have 4 different online courses. I got plenty of stuff to sell, right? So I'll come back a month later and be like, hey, Kyle, hope you're doing well. Hope you're surviving this chaos with self-quarantining and coronavirus. Anyway, was curious, was thinking about this. Are you interested in, or do you ever use webinars? The reason I ask is I actually have a great free program I put together for authors on how to use webinars to sell their books. If you're curious, just reply yes or thumbs up. I'll send you a link to the webinar. If not, no worries, no big deal. And if you bite on that, great. I'll send you a link to the webinar, get you into that funnel. If you say, no, not for me, or just ignore me, a month later, I'll come back and go, hey, Kyle, hope you're well. Hope life in San Antonio is treating you good. Man, I hope the Spurs have a good season or something, icebreakery.
Well, they won't this year, but hopefully next year.
Yeah, if they ever play again. Yeah. But then I'll say, hey, curious, are you a fan of podcasts at all? The reason I ask is blah, blah, blah. And I know obviously you are because you have your own. But that's the idea behind this is number one is to have a client-facing, employer-facing, industry-facing profile. Here's the people I serve. Here's the benefits they get from my skill set, my services. That's part one. Part two is use LinkedIn search to find the exact people you want to, quote, sell to, whether it's sell yourself as an employee, sell yourself as a vendor, sell yourself as a service provider. Find those people. And then part three is engage them, and like a one-on-one human being does in real life. And then the fourth part is really that permission-based marketing where you're asking them, if you'd like to learn more, raise your hand. And the other big thing you asked about books and influences, one of the great ones that I've really drawn on, especially in recent years, and I'm going to see if I can find the quote here, is The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes.
Chet Holmes.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And he says, let me read a couple of these. He says, the person who gives the market the most and best information will always slaughter the person who just wants to sell a product or service.
Yeah.
Right. And he's talking about this idea of educating people, that you've got to educate. He's got another great line. You will attract way more buyers. I think this is true, especially online. You will attract way more buyers if you are offering to teach them something of value than you will ever attract simply by trying to sell them a product or service. Mm-hmm. And where I really bring all this together, Kyle, is with what I call content marketing. Because it's not enough for me to approach you and just claim authority. I'm a ninja. I'm a guru. Give me 15 minutes. I'll save you $15 million. I can guarantee you this and that. Like, everyone can claim that.
Sure.
But no, it's a different thing to prove it and to demonstrate it. And that's where if you are good, you can bottle up your expertise, bottle up your knowledge as content that will demonstrate your expertise, that will teach people something of value. Then you don't have to sell them because you're getting them quick wins. Right? If I'm showing you, hey, I really do know my stuff about webinars. Here's a formula. Here's a template. Here's a script. You go, wow, that's pretty cool. I see a quick win and I see how much better that is. What else do you have? Well, I've got this too. Great. What else do you have? Teach me more. And that's really where you separate yourself from the competition, is the quality of your content, the quality of how you help people. Demonstrate value, bring in your personality. This is the other big tip I give about LinkedIn is, you said what's changed since 2012. The big advantage with LinkedIn, and for everyone listening, all the money on LinkedIn is in the mailbox. Whether you want a job, whether you want a client, whether you want to make sales, all of it's in one-on-one messaging. And the reason is very simple. It's because we are relational creatures to our core. Everything gets done by one human being talking to another human being. It's not about who publishes the best status updates, who has the most articles, who churns out the most content. It's really about connecting with people at a human level, building rapport, and then, putting together this kind of permission-based approach, educating them, going, wow, this Kyle guy's amazing. I love his podcast. He's always sharing all these great insights. I need to learn more. What are his paid services? Because if his free tips are this good, what does his paid program look like? Why wouldn't we want to bring him in to do this and this and this? And I need to introduce my friend to him because they're looking for help there. And that's how you build all this with LinkedIn. And it really is very simple and very scalable because once I explain that to people, they're like, well, I can do that. Like I can talk to people one-on-one. I can break the ice. I can build rapport. I can create just a little bit of content that I can deliver to demonstrate I know what I'm talking about. I can do it in a format I'm comfortable with. I can make it a podcast file. I can do a video. I can write a little post. And this is really where the magic is, my man.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And two things that popped in my mind when you were explaining that, because you had talked about first, the people who just sell right out of the gate. That may work maybe if you're selling like a $5-10 item,
right?
Like a package.
It's a little commodity,
yeah.
Right.
But with you and me, or with most people on LinkedIn, they're selling high ticket items.
Yes.
Either even if it's just a product or usually a service, or some sort of ongoing kind of project that they're doing. You don't want to be sold that right out of the gate. Here, work with me. It only costs you $50,000 for the year. It shouldn't be bad, right? It should be
right.
So yeah, that at first I thought, well, if I pitch them right out of the gate, I'll have better luck. But then I realized, well, I'm asking for a lot of money as a ghostwriter. This isn't just something I can churn out in 20 minutes and hand to them so that they can get it for $5.
And think about this too.
Yeah,
the amount of your ask has to be in direct proportion to the amount of trust you've earned. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to ask for $50K to ghostwrite a book for a year, that's a huge ask. How much of my trust have you earned to this point? What have
Very
you
little,
done? Yeah. Right? So have you built rapport with me? Have you gotten me talking about my favorite topic in the world, which is me, right? Like telling you my story. Have you listened to me? Have you asked me questions that demonstrate you're a thinker and you're pulling stories out of me? Have you been able to deliver me maybe case studies or references of other authors or other people you've written for that go, oh my gosh, here's what happened. Here's the case studies of how he helped me blow up my business by doing this book. Like that's all part of that process that you can bottle up and scale with people that you approach.
Definitely. And then the second thing, because you had mentioned Seth Godin, and I'm actually rereading Lynchpin. I finished it and I wanted to start it again just because it's one of those where I feel I have to go back again and again to really pull out a lot of what he's saying. Because he presents it so well, but also it's very succinct. So it's like, okay, what did he say there?
Yes.
What is he really trying to say? And I'm doing it mostly through audiobook right now. So I'm like, okay, I've got to re-listen to this so I don't miss anything. And one of the things that struck out to me is, if you want to be indispensable, if you want to be a linchpin, which is the point of the whole book, then you need to be an artist. You need to be creative. It's not just I'm going to do a job, so ABC, job is done. He's like, no, put art into it, and that's how you're going to make yourself indispensable because nobody else can do it. So that got me thinking about your artistry, your creativity. It's not with paints, it's not with pencils, it's what you do in your professional world. So essentially you're kind of renting out your creativity to other people. Now obviously I'm not going to go off and tell people, okay, I know LinkedIn, hire me, I can help you get more leads on LinkedIn. That's not my skill set. I should go hire John Nemo to do it because John Nemo knows how to do it. And so I'm going to rent his creativity in a sense. I hope it doesn't sound, very cold to say it that way, but renting that so that way I get your expertise and your artistry and it benefits me, of course, the most. So that really stood out to me. And here you are talking about your whole process. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. So if I want to take the time to learn that, I either have to set aside a year or two, or in your case, maybe more because you said you'd started in 2012 in order to do that, or I save the time now and just hire you to do it.
Yeah, if you're an art lover and what really is your passion is just looking at it and observing beautiful paintings, and your favorite artist in the world has a certain style, you have two options. Like you can train your whole life to try to get there, or you can just buy a painting from him, or you can have that artist come and give you lessons and help you shortcut the process and go, how did you get that color and that shade of gray? What's your secret when you mix the paints? Like show me your So that's the value and the benefit that you and I have because we are individuals and because we do all have unique skill sets and experiences. Everything is commoditized. There are a million LinkedIn trainers. So what's going to make myself different than anyone else? Well, there's a couple of things. One is maybe the process I use and the styles and the way I mix my paint and my creativity, sure. But also the other big thing we don't want to lose in this is your personality, your actual self, your communication style, your ability to relate to people, your personality, your sense of humor. The biggest advantage you have on LinkedIn and in the online marketplace is you.
Yeah.
Like the reality is every occupation is commoditized. I can hire ghostwriters off Fiverr, like I can hire. Now the quality is going to vary, but it's commodity. So I don't want to be picking one based on price. I want to pick one, especially for a high trust, intimate type service like ghostwriting, where I'm going to let you into my life. I'm going to spill my guts to you. I'm going to trust you with my story. I'm going to let my guard down. I need to like that person. I need to trust that person. I need to have a rapport with that person. Now, I'm only going to be able to build that with you if we hang out one-on-one, or if you're putting that out in your content online and letting your real personality come through. Your sense of humor, your communication style, your stories, your journey, your being authentic and transparent. So then I can listen to that and go, yes, the value is there, the insight is there, the ideas are there, the structure is there, but I also really like this person. And the more you're authentic and the more you're genuine in your communication on LinkedIn, in the content you put out, that attracts people that want to work with you, and it repels people who would be nightmare clients. And that's win-win for everyone, because there's 700 million clients on LinkedIn, and you don't need to have them all like you, right? Like you want to attract people that go, like for instance, I'm a LinkedIn trainer. I do tons of 80s jokes, and I'm very goofy and gregarious, and I have a lot of just antics, and I published a photo of myself today wearing Zubas, work from home. Remember Zubas, like the tiger pattern pants?
I got that email, and I had flashbacks because I got the Dallas Cowboy version of
Yes. You lived it. Listen, that's me. Like, that's me. If you want a LinkedIn trainer who's in a suit and tie and stuffy, I am not your guy. And that's fine. Like, I don't want to attract. Like, I had one guy write back to that email account and go, sorry to tell you this, but those are ugly pants. And I'm like, that's why I don't want to work with you. Like, you have no soul. Dude. Like, I'm like, Dan Marino wore Zubas, okay? Like, it was, he missed the whole point of the email, which was, be yourself, have fun, let's laugh in the face of this chaotic time, and whatever. Like, but that's an example of, I put my personality out through content. Someone like you laughed and had a good chuckle and was like, I love Nemo. God, that guy he just is himself.
Yeah. And even if I don't like those pants, I'm still going to work with you because you're being honest about
you're just a regular guy.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not like your fashion sense is the determining factor of whether we work together or not.
God. Yeah. I'd never have a client if that my wife
neither.
Could tell you.
Me neither.
Yeah. But this other guy I repelled. Because he's like, oh, those are ugly pants. I'd never work with someone who wears ugly pants. Then I don't want to work with you because you don't have enough humor and life is too short. And I'm not that desperate. And so that's the real benefit of putting yourself out there, not turning it into an episode of Oprah or Dr. Phil and woe is me, but more just sharing your real self. And it's a fine art, but it really, I've found I win a lot of business based off just being a human, authentic person. And they go, and then backing that up with good content, and the prospect typically will say, well, your stuff looks really good. I'm shopping around a bunch of other LinkedIn trainers, but honestly, I just think it'll be more fun to work with you. It's like, there we go, right? Because again, it's a commodity. When you pick a cell phone provider, you're not doing it based on your relationship with the rep in a third world country that doesn't care about you and reads a template. Like, you're doing it based 100% on price or tech or whatever. But for most of us, we're buying a service based on our relationship with someone. And that's something, especially online, especially in this era, man, you really need to let that come through. People are craving genuine connection. And that's your big differentiator in the marketplace with your personal brand.
Would you like to be a guest on the Career Challenges podcast? Go to careerchallengespodcast.com to find out how. While you're there, Check out other episodes and download them through Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. The Career Challenges podcast is hosted by me, Kyle Weckerly. I'm a certified professional ghostwriter who works with business thought leaders and industry experts to write polished manuscripts, assess their publishing options, and create book marketing plans. I've worked with consultants, high-ticket salespeople, coaches, speakers, C-level executives, and business owners. My authors have worked for USAA, Vistage, Booz Allen Hamilton, Austin Technology Council, and Twitch. My authors know that writing a book will help them change the world. They know that the story they tell will create that change. So they want to write a book to serve as a platform for their marketing endeavors. They know a published book will help them secure more speaking gigs, market their expertise, promote a product or service, and more. So reach out to Kyle Weckerly at weckerlywriter.com to start your publishing journey. Maybe you're not ready to start that journey just yet, but you do know that you want to write a book. So where to begin? Well, if you're ready, go to weckerlywriter.com to download 101 questions to ask before writing your book. This will help you get started and will offer guidance on the next steps to turn your ideas, experience, and actionable knowledge into a completed manuscript. Just visit weckerlywriter.com to get your free copy today. That's weckerlywriter.com. weckerlywriter.com. And now, back to the Career Challenges podcast. You're doing the LinkedIn coaching and all that. What made you decide to write a book about your experiences in coaching LinkedIn and to put that process into a book itself? Because, I mean, some people could argue you could just put it out into an email course or even just do it in a post form through LinkedIn. And so that way, if people want to come to you and offer you or purchase your services, you just say, well, here, go to this set of posts or go to this email course. So why a book, John?
I've written 7 books, and I have found, now granted, I'm biased. I grew up as the son of 2 English teachers in a home where the floor was literally, our basement was lined floor to ceiling with books. Mm-hmm. Both my parents just old school. So I grew up loving stories and loving books. Mm-hmm. I've written 7, but here, for a business point of view, to this day, there is no better lead generation machine than a book. There is no better piece of quote unquote content marketing than a book. And here's why. It conveys a level of credibility and authority that a blog post will never do. A podcast will never do. There's just a different view of books in general, even self-published, which doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to have a traditional publisher. Like, I've self-published all my books. And the other thing is, it's a thing that you can give to anyone, and it has more weight to it. So, like, literally, I give away my book because the people that will read a book will really take a deep dive into you, into your story, into your personal brand. And if you do a good job with your book, they feel like they know you. For example, it works on me. So 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, I was looking to quit my day job. I wanted to hire a business coach to help me, make that leap. And I went on Amazon, started typing in marketing books, and I found one that I liked that had a really funny title. I read the book. I was so enamored with not only the content and the tips in the book, but I just thought the author was so funny, and I related, and he was so likable and self-deprecating. I remember finding him online. My first message was, how much do I have to pay you to coach me? The book I bought for a couple dollars on Amazon sold me in, and I still pay him today, monthly. Wow. I mean, here's another example. I have my book out in a bunch of different places. So you can go to my website, linkedinriches.com, and download the book for free. I give away the audiobook for free, the Kindle version, the PDF, any format you want. I just want to get the book into your hands. Because if you read the book, you get to know, like, and trust me, you get quick wins, you get value, and that brings you into wanting other things. But I also have the book on Amazon because this will shock you, Kyle, but most people don't know who I am. Right? So, like, it's True. Not like people always, I love so many people, we're not big deal. Like, no one is sitting here thinking about you. Like no one knows who you are. Even if you are an A-list entrepreneur, nobody knows who you are. Like these internet famous people can still walk into a grocery store and no one knows who they are. And what I always tell people, like, well, I would never want to give my book away for free. It'll cheapen the brand and damage sales and cannibalize my. And I'm like, the reality is no one knows who you are when they go on Amazon. They're looking for a solution to a problem. So on Amazon, they go on and type in LinkedIn book. And my book pops up. And if my book description and cover and reviews all do their job, they might roll the dice and buy my book. They are not going to linkedinriches.com and finding me and going, oh, wow, I can get it for free here. Like they're not doing that level of research. And so what I found is giving my book away for free and promoting it anywhere and everywhere really grows my email list and builds my brand and gets a lot of clients. And it has not hurt my Amazon sales at all. Like I'm still selling the same amount. But here's what's really valuable is my best clients, and I'm talking 5-figure clients, are people where I say, how did you find me? They're like, I got your book for free or I bought it on Kindle for $1. And now I'm giving you 5 figures, like for and I'm like, wow. So you asked me why I wrote a book. It's because that 99-cent book can get me $20, $30, $40, $50,000 client.
Wow.
By the way, they didn't watch YouTube videos. They didn't listen to podcasts. They didn't read blogs. They read a short little book that's like 110 pages, got excited about what they could be doing on LinkedIn, saw the value, learned the strategy, and also got to know, like, and trust me to the point where they reached out to me. And the sales are very easy at that point because, like someone said to me today, they go, well, I already know your whole story. I read the book. I'm more concerned, how would it work for me? What does the pricing look like? Man, when you have a conversation like that, you're thrilled. Because you don't have to start from scratch. So when someone comes to me cold, I always say, can I give you the book for free and come back to me? Because that does all the work for me. It does all the lifting. It's much, and people will, especially like audiobooks, people love audiobooks. Definitely. They're looking for something to listen to on the go. And I think I've tried every form of content marketing known to man, and books far and away still lead the way. And so even when I go to live events, if we ever have those again and get together in groups.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. It's just going to take some time. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I went to a huge event, social media marketing world out in San Diego, and I was a speaker out there, and I printed up 400 copies of my book from Amazon and handed them out in lieu of business cards.
Wow.
And I got, 2 or 3 clients from that in the 5-figure range who I just gave books to because they're like, yeah, I met you at the conference. You were much more memorable because I had a pile of business cards and then I had a book. And so when I got on the airplane to fly home, I read your book and I started liking it and I got to know you and I made this. And it was like, that's why books are so powerful. And I think anyone, especially in business, that is the most important thing you can create. And yes, use a ghostwriter, use Kyle, like use somebody who knows what they're doing, but it's an investment in your business that I believe is going to pay far bigger dividends than spending the same amount on Facebook ads or something else, because books have longevity and they have credibility and authority that you're not going to get from a quick 10-second Facebook ad.
True. Yeah. Because you had mentioned earlier, nobody knows who you are as an author. I think that also speaks well to your niche. You're probably well known in your niche, and the book helps with that. So obviously, if somebody's trying to get into that from the outside, they're not going to know, the quote unquote major players. So it makes sense that they're going to probably do that research first on Amazon before they actually start doing more, less centralized research. Because a lot of people will go to Google and they will go to Amazon to do that searching in the first place. And they're not going to come up with a list of names of here's people you need to know if you want to get good at LinkedIn. Because when I got into ghostwriting and into publishing, I just knew names of publishing houses. I didn't know Mike Shatskin. I didn't know Joshua Lysek, Latham Schinder, Derek Lewis, Ali Machate, or Claudia Suzanne. I just want to keep listing names as well. But in doing research, in finding these people, it's like, okay, these are the people I should be following. And if I didn't do that first initial, okay, what do I need to be learning, I would never have found them. And so it makes sense that, you would put it there first to get, people to get traction, to get people to come to you. So it's a process. And so I think also that it includes that humility, because you're very humble in pointing out that nobody knows you, and that doesn't matter. Outside of your niche, obviously. So there has to be that humility. Is like, if I want to be known as the authority in LinkedIn, then I have to do the work to put it out there and to promote the book. And so there's that marketing there involved there. That marketing involved there as well, is what I meant to say. So yeah, that makes perfect sense, and I love the way you put that together. It was like, he gets it.
Yeah, yeah, and hey, look, I mean, I'm still a nobody. I started as a nobody, but why I wrote the book was I was doing it for myself to build my business. Clients started asking me to do it for them, and then one day I had lunch with a good buddy of mine, Mark Ealing, who is an author and a storyteller at heart. And he goes, "Why haven't you written a book about this?" I was like, "I don't know. Who wants to read a book about LinkedIn?" He goes, "You have a great story to tell now. Like you had all this success, how you built your business. You're doing it for clients." He's like, "Why don't you bottle that up, Nemo? Put that out as a book. And then that could be kind of your calling card to start getting a foothold with this business instead of just telling people one-to-one." And I was like, "Man, that's a good idea." And so I went back and wrote the book. I should be giving Mark, royalty checks or something, but it was, the idea was planted of, oh yeah, bottle this up. And then like you said, Kyle, and this, when you finish writing the book, that was the easy part. Yeah. Marketing the book's the hard part. And that's why to this day, I still just give it away. Because I'm like, to me, I spend money and lose money every month on Amazon ads just to sell 99-cent copies of this book. Because I know on the back end, I'm going to get a $30,000, $40,000 client. That more, you know what I mean? I can track the links and and build my list. And it's just doing that work, being humble. Here's another thing of what I did to build my platform that most people don't know. Like, how did I get all these big name people endorsing me that my audience knows? People like Chris Brogan, John Lee Dumas, and famous people in the entrepreneurial space. I went to them cold and said, "I know you don't know me. I'm a nobody, but I would just like your permission to try and rewrite your LinkedIn profile for free. Wow. You don't have to talk to me. I'm not going to bother you. I'm not some creepy stalker. I just want to give it a shot. I'll do all the research. I know your brand. I looked at your website. Can I just have your permission to try? If you like it, I'll send you a Word document. If you like it, use it. Great. We can start building a relationship. If not, no worries. Tell me to take a hike." And almost all these A-list people at the time were like, "Well, yeah, there's no skin off my nose. Knock yourself out with a bunch of free work that might benefit me." And I did my job and I worked really hard and I rewrote LinkedIn profiles for these big name people and they loved it. And then what I did was understood the, concept of reciprocity, where they said, "Wow, that was really cool. No one's ever offered to do that. And I have to say, you really delivered. You nailed my brand, my tone. I really like the way you did my profile. How can I return the favor?" And that was my entree to say, "Well, hey, you have a really popular podcast. Would you mind if I came on? We talked about you and your audience loves you. Let's talk about your LinkedIn profile, how you met me, why I did what I did to your profile, and the takeaways your audience can have from the process." And all these A-listers were like, "Yeah, that's great because the audience loves hearing about me. I love hearing about me. Let's talk about my story, how you came in and helped me." And that's how I built and got all these big name testimonials to raise my credibility and get blurbs for the book and get big name people endorsing it. And that was just pure hard work. And some of the A-list people I reached out to, it didn't work out. Like I did the work and whatever. And, some stuff didn't get the same reciprocity, but it didn't matter because I got enough of the big names. And that's really how it works.
True.
Too many people will come to you with their hand out and go, "Will you tell me everything of what I need to do to be great at podcasting?" As opposed to, "Can I do something for you? And then let's see where it goes." And that's really, there is no shortcut to success. I think that's the other thing. We live in this internet age of, listen to this guy Nemo say, publish a book and you'll get $50,000 client. No, there's a lot more to it, right? But like you said, it's a process. And if you do the right things and if you don't give up and you have the right mindset, you can and will be very successful. Because here's the last thing I want to say, and then I'll shut up. We live in the best era in human history to monetize your knowledge. Yeah. To do whatever it is you want to do for a living. Like, I think a lot of people are stuck at home right now because of this virus. And I know this is coming out after the fact, so hopefully life will be more back to normal. But for people reflecting back on this period where you're stuck at home, look at how much you're able to do online. Like, look at, I'm joking about my Zubas from the 80s. In the 80s, you couldn't just publish a book. You couldn't self-publish. Amazon didn't exist. No one would know about it. You had to write and pray and beg, literary agents and publishers to even look at your stuff. Now, within 10 minutes, I can publish and sell a book on Amazon. So what is stopping you? The only thing in your way is you, right? It's your mindset and understanding how to really, move forward. But the opportunity is limitless. That's what's exciting.
Definitely. That's awesome. So yeah, we're just about out of time, but what I always want to ask all my guests before we sign off, what is next for you, John Nemo? What's coming up that you're excited about?
I think, I'm really enjoying doing what I'm doing, man. I love creating content. I love teaching. I'm big into trying to help people with their mindset right now. That's just been a massive shift for me once I got my mindset fixed. But yeah, I think just continuing to do the LinkedIn stuff. I've got other books on content marketing and things like that, but it's all been fun, and I'm just honored to be on your show and get to talk with you.
Awesome. Well, it's been a privilege having you on my show as well. So real quick too, I didn't want to miss this point. If people are listening to this and they're like, well, I've got to learn more about what John Nemo is teaching about either content marketing or LinkedIn or maybe even just publishing, how can they find you? How can they reach out and connect with you? More importantly, how can they get your book for free?
Yeah. So to get the book for free, just go to linkedinriches.com, the word LinkedIn and then the word riches, because the riches are in the niches, linkedinriches.com, or just find me on LinkedIn. It's John Nemo, like the movie Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
So the only good thing that came out of that ridiculous Disney fish movie was now people remember my last name. Sure. So you can find Nemo on LinkedIn. I'm there. Tell me you heard me on Kyle's show. And I've got lots of other, free content. I really practice what I preach, which is trying to give away as much value as I can with free content to earn the right to ask people for business later on.
Definitely. Yeah, because you had mentioned nobody knew Nemo before, but 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Jules Verne.
I know, Captain baby, Nemo. Captain Nemo. That's true.
I knew that before the movie came out, so I'm like, how are people not knowing this? Anyway, that's just me, but. Anyway, so John Nemo, thank you so much for being on the Career Challenges podcast with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Career Challenges podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and like the Career Challenges podcast on your favorite podcasting app. Visit careerchallengespodcast.com for more information. And if you really like me, then you'll write a review. And don't forget to pick up your free copy of 101 Questions to Ask Before Writing Your Book by visiting weckerlywriter.com. That's WECKERLYWRITER.com.